Hello and welcome to Christopher Neal Photography. I was asked a question by a viewer a few weeks ago about using Starry Landscape Stacker on the reflection of the Milky Way and the water feature in the foreground, and I wasn't exactly sure how to answer. It seems like most of the times I've used water in front of me, it's either been surf or the wind was blowing way too much to get a reflection shot. I just don't have a ton of experience with it, but I did manage to find a perfect set of images to do some testing with in my catalog. Back in 2023, I made a trip out to the north end of Pawleys Island on a very cold Saturday morning late in January. It was clear and cold, and there wasn't a hint of wind over any of the tidal pools. And I was able to capture several series with beautiful star reflections. I looked at the final images I had edited at the time, but I wasn't really impressed with them, and I just knew that I could pull a much better result this time. I've done a little research, and it seems the best approach is to align the sky, save the image, and then run the mask and alignment a second time for the reflection. The problem is that the sky and reflection may or may not be moving in the same direction at the same time, and the software will get confused and the alignment won't work properly. I can see how that might be a problem. The geometry may not match up, but sometimes I just got to try it out and see for myself. Now, I ran it both ways. I stacked the images and I masked the sky and reflection at the same time, and then I did it the way the developer recommended, and I compared the results. I see a few stars that didn't get picked up, or they're a little dimmer, but the bulk of the reflection is the same in both images. I can see an argument for both ways. If you aren't comfortable working in Photoshop, then you'll have to mask and align both at the same time, and then make final adjustments in Lightroom. On the other hand, the stacking algorithms can give you a slightly different result, especially in the reflection. And the flexibility of being able to use different ones for the sky and the foreground, now that has some appeal. So, I'm going to run through the process of stacking a reflection shot, and then I'm going to show you how I would do the merge if you use two separate images. Let's go. Now for this instance, I've got 10 shots up here with reflection, and in this case I've actually generated 10 shots using DxO Pure Raw 5. These are the same shots as the 10 raw files, and in this case I've gone in and I have run my normal edits, switching to adaptive color, adjusting the white balance. I actually put a little crop in, and then I've gone over to masking. Now I did not do a complicated mask on this shot because it's fairly straightforward. I simply used a linear gradient for the sky and then inverted it, used it for the ground, and ran my various edits for both. These are the final images that I've ended up with. Once I got those images edited, I selected them all, synchronized the settings, and exported them to a folder as a TIFF file. Now I'm going to run Starry Landscape Stacker. As always, I use the working drive, and since this was January, it was the 28th, we're going to load those 10 images. Now what Starry Landscape Stacker is going to do, obviously, is it's going to put dots where it thinks the sky is, but it's a little bit confused because you've also got these dots here in the reflection. And so what I'm going to do is just simply come in here and enhance this. I'm going to make sure all these dots are covered, draw a nice edge for the horizon, make sure it's there in the corners, and then I'm going to come in to the foreground and make sure that that is addressed as well, because I actually want to align this foreground reflection. Now where I'm going to get rid of some is right here on the fringe where there's not much coverage. I don't want to try and align that part of it. Got some stars here. Oh, looks like they've closed the ferries on the Outer Banks. I'm going to run the alignment, and it looks pretty good. I'm going to come in and refine it. I don't want it trying to align this part. Sky. Now I'm going to run the align and composite. Now, as you can see, where it's really picking these stars up, and it's even got the dark parts of the Milky Way, the dust clouds here of the dark horse, you can see those in the reflection as well. It's obviously done a pretty good job with not only giving me some pinpoint stars and low noise in the sky, but it's done it fairly well in the reflection as well. So I'm going to run through my composition algorithms, and you can see when I start changing these, I get a little bit different edge in my foreground. And this is one of the things that I mentioned earlier. If you wanted to use the algorithm for the minimum value, where it aligns your sky, but it really kind of minimizes the stars in the sky, it's going to give you a not that pleasant looking foreground edge here. I'd really rather use one of these other foregrounds. That's what I'm talking about when I mean it. There might be an advantage to having two separate alignments. If I was to come in here again and erase the sky in the alignment and just use here, might get a slightly different look to this foreground, and that might be something that we can use to match up those two images. So I'm not going to save this one out because I already have it saved. Quit without saving. So these are my two shots. This one was masked for the stars and this one was masked for the foreground. I'm going to show you how we can do a really simple edit on these in Photoshop. I'm going to choose both of these and we're going to edit them. I'm going to open as layers in Photoshop. We'll let that finish working. I'm usually going to put my stars on top, and actually you can see I've used the minimum value here, but I don't really like the alignment there. It's a pretty simple matter of just adding a mask and then coming in here with the gradient tool and running a linear gradient. Now I'm going to choose both. We're going to merge visible, and there you have it. This will be your image that you can work with. It's a combination of both, and you can run your Photoshop Milky Way edit from here. And this is my final edit. This was Lightroom edit. I got about as far as I could get it in Lightroom, and then I've switched over to Photoshop and done my final edit here. So there we are. I don't do a ton of this. Like I said, most of the time I'm out. There's some type of a breeze on those pools, and I get a little bit of reflection, but it's not good. So I don't do a ton of this type of photography, but I do have a few of these where I got really good reflections. This is what I can get out of it. You can use Starry Landscape Stacker. You can do it in one pass, but again, I understand why the developer is recommending that you do it in multiple passes. However, I believe in trying it. You're the photographer, you're the artist. There's nothing that says you can't try it and see what you come out with. Hope you got something out of that. Please remember to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. Follow me on social media. My 2026 Nightscape calendars are now available on my website. It is shots from Pawleys Island over the past year or so. Jump over there, grab one. Now it's time to get out there, capture some magic.